Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, judges, that we are fully respected. It is a great honor for us to present our research in this international conference. First, allow me to introduce our team. My name is Ghina, Fauziyah, Imansyah, and I am accompanied by my college. This is Nadia Kusniawati, Salamandara, Prila, Aulin, and Zeilin Fitriyani. We are from the Public Administration Program, Faculty of Social and Humanities, and Muhammadiyah Bandung University. In this presentation, let us present our research that called the influence of Summarecon Bandung development on the Human Development Index and human.
The study begins with the context of globalization, which has become a major driver of economics and social transformation. Globalization not only accelerates development but also creates new economic centers, such as modern shopping malls in Bandung, especially in the East Bandung area. Rapid development has shifted the economic sector toward service and commercial sector. This transformation reflects modernization process where urban area evolved into more complex and dynamic system. However, development should not only be viewed from an economic perspective, but also from its impact of human happiness view.
This slide presents the economic growth of Bandung City from 2019 to 2024. Although the growth shows slight fluctuations, it remains relatively stable, reaching approximately 4.99% in 2024. This indicates that Bandung has a strong and growing economic foundation. However, economic growth alone cannot fully describe the quality of life of the community. Therefore, this research emphasizes the importance of examining broader indicators such as the Human Development Index and the Human Happiness Index to better understand the real impact of development.
Alternative hypothesis, the development of the Summarecon Bandung area has no effect on the Human Happiness Index. First hypothesis, the development of the Summarecon Bandung area has an effect on the Human Development Index. Second hypothesis, the development of the Summarecon Bandung area has an effect on the Human Happiness Index.
This study uses a conceptual framework consisting of three main variables. Development is positioned as the independent variables, while the Human Development Index and Human Happiness Index serve as dependent variables. The development variables by Tixon in 2025 including three indicators, which is modernization, underdevelopment, and dependency. And also the Human Development Index by Nadia in 2021 includes three indicators, which is health, education, and standard of living. And also, meanwhile, the Human Happiness Index by Indonesian Statistic includes life satisfaction, emotional condition, and meaning of life. By combining these variables, this research aims to provide a more comprehensive understanding of how development affects both material and non-material aspects of human life.
First hypothesis, the development of the Summarecon Bandung area has had an impact on the Human Development Index. Second hypothesis, the development of the Summarecon Bandung area has an impact on the Human Happiness Index. Zero hypothesis, the development of Summarecon Bandung area has had no impact on the Human Development Index. Alternative hypothesis, the development of the Summarecon Bandung area has had no impact on the Human Happiness Index.
In general, the study aims to analyze the Human Development Index, NDI, Human Happiness Index, and the development of Summarecon Bandung. The research question in this study stem from issues argued above. The research question can be said as follows. The first, how does the development of the Summarecon Bandung area affect the Human Development Index? Or how does the development of Summarecon Bandung area affect the Human Happiness Index?
This study has examined how the development of the Summarecon Bandung area contributes to the improvement of the Human Development Index and the Human Happiness Index. The findings indicate that the development has a positive and significant impact on both indicators, both partially through the t-test and simultaneously through the f-test. This implies that development is not merely a symbol of cycle progress, but but also plays a role in enhancing the quality of life and happiness of the surrounding community. Through regression analysis, it was found that each increase in development is associated with an increase in Human Development Index of 0.417 units and an increase in Human Happiness Index of 0.474 units. Although these contributions are not statistic gradient analysis, it was found that each increase in development is associated with an increase in Human Development Index of 0.417 units and an increase in Human Happiness Index of 0.474 units. Although these contributions are not statistically large, they are socially meaningful. These findings demonstrate that commercially driven economic development, when implemented through an inclusive and sustainable approach, can align with the effort to create a society that is more prosperous both physically and emotionally. Furthermore, the results of the study emphasize that shopping centers are not merely spaces of consumption, but can also function as social spaces that contribute to strengthen the quality of life of the community.
Based on the result of data analysis using the SPSS application, it was found that most items shows a significant correlation with the total score as indicated by the significant value above 0.05. These findings suggest that the majority of the questionnaire items have a strong relationship with the constructs being measured and can therefore be considered valid. Although the instrument generally demonstrates a good result, there are two items that do not meet the validity criteria, namely items P3 and P4. Of the descriptive analysis, it can be concluded that descriptive statistical analysis aims to provide a general overview of respondents' response to each research variable based on the data processing result using SPSS with a total 45 respondents as the sample. This analysis is used to assess how the development of the Summarecon Mall Bandung area influenced the Human Development Index and the Human Happiness Index. The statistical information obtained includes the minimum value, maximum value, median, and standard deviation of each questionnaire item. The result of the correlation analysis show a significant positive relationship between the development variable and the Human Development Index, with a correlation value of 0.304 and significance level of 0.021. This indicates that an increase in development tends to be followed by an increase in the Human Development Index. Although the strength of the relationship is not very strong, it still demonstrates a significant relationship between the two variables. And then furthermore, the correlation analysis also shows a significant positive relationship between the development variables and the Human Happiness Index, with a correlation value of 0.331 and a significance level of 0.013. This suggests that an increase in development tends to be accompanied by an increase in the Human Happiness Index. Although the strength of the relationship is relatively moderate, it still indicates a statistically significant relationship between these variables. Based on the partial test calculation, the effect of the development variable on Human Development Index can be seen from the significance value in the coefficients table, which is there is 0.042 less than 0.05, and therefore it can be concluded that the hypothesis is accepted. In other words, the development of the Summarecon Mall Bandung area has significant effect on the Human Development Index. Furthermore, the effect of the development variable on Human Happiness Index can be seen from the significance value in the coefficient table, which is there is 0.026 and also less than 0.05. Therefore, it can be conclude that the hypothesis is accepted. In the other words, development has a significant effect on the human happiness index.
Question.
Based on the significance of value from the ANOVA output, the significance value is above 0.042, since this value is less than 0.05. According to the decision-making criteria of the F-test, it can be concluded that the hypothesis is accepted. In the other words, development is simultaneously has a significant effect on the human development index. And furthermore, based on the ANOVA output, the significance value is 0.026. And since this value is also less than 0.05, it can be concluded that the hypothesis is accepted. In the other words, development is simultaneously has a significant effect on the human happiness index.
Question.
Based on the output obtained from the table, the adjusted R-square value or coefficient of determination shows that the value lies within the range between 0 and 1, which is that is 0.00518, more than 0 and less than 1. Therefore, it can be concluded that the independent variable, the development of Summarecon Bandung, has an effect on the independent variable, which is the human development index. Furthermore, based on the output from the table, the adjusted R-square value also lies within the range between 0 and 1, which is 0.007921, more than 0 and less than 1. Thus, it can be concluded that the independent variable, which is the development of Summarecon Bandung, has an effect on the dependent variable, which is the human happiness index.
There are three variables: development as variable X, the human development index as variable Y1, and the human happiness index as variable Y2. In this study, the author proposed the following hypothesis, which is zero hypothesis. The development of the Summarecon Bandung area has no effect on the human development index.
Through regression analysis, it was found that each increase in development is associated with an increase in human development index of 0.417 units and an increase in human happiness index of 0.474 units. Although these contributions are not statistically large, they are socially meaningful. These findings demonstrate that commercially driven economic development, when implemented through an inclusive and sustainable approach, can align with the effort to create a society that is more prosperous both physically and emotionally. Furthermore, the results of the study emphasize that shopping centers are not merely spaces of consumption, but can also function as social spaces that contribute to strengthen the quality of life of the community.
Finally, the study recommends that policymakers and developers adopt a more inclusive and sustainable approach to development, ensuring that its benefits are distributed evenly across society. Future research is also encouraged to use more comprehensive methods to gain deeper insight into the relationship between development and human well-being.
Closing, we sincerely hope that this research can provide meaningful insight and contribute, even in a small way, to the development of more inclusive, sustainable, and human-centered policies in the future. We believe that development should not only focus on economic growth, but also on improving the overall quality of life and happiness of society.
And we also like to express our deepest gratitude to all participant organizers and also distinguished audience who have given us the opportunity to present our research in this forum. Is it truly an honor for us to be part of this academic discussion?
And finally, we are proud to present this work as student of the Public Administration Study Program, Faculty of Social and Humanities, Muhammadiyah Bandung University.
Thank you very much for your kind attention, and we look forward to your feedback.
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.